Hey guys, Brian from Boas here. I recently did a video entitled "This Could End Reptile Keeping as We Know It," and I commented on one of my biggest fears with reptiles keeping, and that is that they stop shipping by FedEx. And that video generated a lot of comments and a lot of opinions, a lot of great ideas in the comments. So today I wanted to take a few minutes and just comment, go into a little bit more detail on some of the things I talked about. So be sure to stay tuned if you're shipping reptiles or thinking about receiving a shipment at some point in the future. In the video I mentioned that FedEx was really the only way that you can currently ship snakes. And I received a lot of comments on this indicating, well, you know, people can ship them by UPS or the US Postal Service. And so you can ship reptiles of some types by UPS and the US Postal Service, but no snakes, okay? So it doesn't really do any good for a boa breeder to use UPS or FedEx. However, there is a glimmer of hope that I'm going to get to in a minute. After this news that was announced recently, I don't feel nearly as worried as I did just a week and a half ago when I made the video. So you can ship turtles and lizards and amphibians. You can ship them by US mail or UPS, but for whatever reason they don't allow snakes. I think people just don't like snakes or are scared of them or think they might be venomous, so that's why you can't ship snakes. Does this mean people don't do it? No, a lot of illicit shipping goes on pretty regularly. And as I mentioned in the previous video, I had someone ship me some boas UPS that were unmarked. I'm sure it happens all the time. People are shipping snakes by UPS or US Postal Service and they just don't identify it on the label, or they say it's a turtle, or who knows what they say, but I'm sure it happens all the time. However, that's not, I think in the case of US mail it's illegal, it's a federal crime, but it's definitely not part of the rules. However, as I mentioned, there's a glimmer of hope, and apparently there are some UPS accounts that allow shipping of reptiles and snakes, and you just have to have a special permission and ship your reptiles, which is one of the major shippers that makes possible. Actually, they're not a shipper, they're a shipping service. It's an account that makes possible really easy FedEx shipping for people that have reptiles. The other major one is Reptiles Express. But Ship Your Reptiles is now offering shipping of reptiles, including snakes, by UPS. And I don't know a lot about this. I got the email, about a day or two actually after the video was released that I released. And it just says you can now ship snakes and other reptiles by FedEx. So go to All Pro Shipping, Ship Your Reptiles if you want more information. I'm not paid by them. I don't have any connection to them. I'm just telling you guys because this is potentially a really great option now that we have UPS shipping through Ship Your Reptiles. And I definitely need to check into it at some point in the future. A lot of viewers of the previous video had comments or questions about the shipping process in general, so I thought I would walk through a few of the more commonly asked questions. So I ship just by FedEx. It's priority overnight, and it's really, really safe. People are worried all the time that something's going to happen to their snake, but I 100% unconditionally guarantee live, healthy arrival, so nothing for you to worry about. And the snake is in the box on average for about 16 to 20 hours. So it's really a very minimal amount of time that the snake is in the package. And so I will drop off the package at the FedEx Ship Center in the afternoon, and then it's there typically the morning following the drop off. What I will say though is FedEx unfortunately is not on time 100% of the time. And I've noticed that as time goes on, it kind of gets worse as far as the delay rate. I would say probably about 10% of the packages are delayed at least a day. So, if I ship on Monday and it's supposed to get there Tuesday, it doesn't get there till Wednesday. So, however, there's no worry about this. The snake will be fine in the package for probably up to several weeks, to be honest, provided that the package isn't put in a freezer or in a very hot environment. So really nothing to worry about if your package is delayed overnight. And you know, I always hate when that happens, and I feel really bad for the customer, but it is a risk that you may not get your package the day that it's supposed to arrive. There's really nothing that I can do about that at this point. It's just, you know, FedEx has these delays sometimes. And so the snakes are packaged in a styrofoam lined box. They're double contained. They're within usually a snake bag. Sometimes I use a deli cup, but usually I use a cloth snake bag that's tied and secured. And that's inside of a styrofoam lined box that's also secured. So no chance that the snake can escape. I use heat packs when necessary. I don't ship if it's below a certain temperature or above a certain temperature, but right now is really ideal weather for shipping in most parts of the country, and it should be good for the next few months. So obviously the spring and fall are the ideal times for shipping, and then winter and the height of summer, you know, there's times when you can't ship. The other thing is I don't ship door to door. You'll have to go to the FedEx ship center to pick up your animal. And the reason I do this is because it means there's less time that the box is on the truck, or, you know, in an environment where it could be exposed potentially to inappropriate temperatures. I know it's a little bit less convenient for you if you have to drive to your FedEx ship center. You know, some people it's a 5-minute drive, some people it's a 2-hour drive, depending on where you live. But it's really worth it because your snake will be much more likely, or, you know, I shouldn't say much more likely, but more likely to have absolutely no problems happen. So some of the other more interesting comments, some people commented on the fact that a lot of the expenses that are tied into shipping have gone up, and it's unfortunately, you know, it's part of the economy right now, the inflationary situation, which unfortunately doesn't seem to have any indication of getting better, you know, in contrast to what you hear on the news every day. And, you know, we have shipping is tied largely to fuel costs, but also to labor costs and numerous other costs, all of which are going up. So of course the price of shipping is going up. And right now I'm paying about $90 for most of my baby Boas shipments. So this is a 2-pound package. It's a 12 by 9 by 6 inch box. That's most parts of the country, $90. Some places in California, real close, are going to be less. I shipped to Alaska last week. It was $120, the same size box. So it's more to go to Alaska, which I didn't know. But, you know, this is just something that we have to deal with. And it's only going to go higher in the future. Who knows how high it's going to be 4 or 5 years from now, potentially maybe even $300. You know, really a hard situation. But now that we have UPS, at least maybe that's a competitor, and maybe we can get better deals on UPS through Ship Your Reptiles. We'll just have to see. Other people commented about the shipping experience, and they go to their FedEx ship center, and sometimes they see people opening up packages there, which they think is a big no-no. I would tend to agree. It's really best not to open the packages in public. You know, some people really love the reptiles and they want to see them, but there might be a general public member who is scared of snakes, or, you know, doesn't like it, and it might lead to a scene. So, you know, and it's also stressful for your reptile. You know, your reptile has just been shipped a long distance. It's in a little closed box. It's dark. It doesn't know what's going on. So it doesn't want to be taken out in public and, you know, paraded around. Interestingly, when I go to my FedEx ship center, I've been going for so many years that I know all the employees pretty well at this point, and they know I ship reptiles. They're always asking me about my snakes, and they tell me stories all the time of people who've received reptiles and they've opened them up there. You know, some pretty crazy stories. Fortunately, no one's gotten hurt. But the FedEx people seem to be really interested in the reptiles. You know, they seem to like them and enjoy them. So this is a good thing, you know, not to have to worry about dropping off your reptile to a FedEx employee who doesn't like reptiles. You know, when I first started shipping, I kept really quiet. I just went in there, I said the bare minimum, dropped my package off. You know, because I was a little worried, to be honest. But you know, I've done it so many times, hundreds and hundreds of times at this point, that it's really become routine. And I've never taken out my reptiles at the FedEx. I drop them off. Typically the employee will make small talk, ask me what's in there. But strangely, they've never asked me to open the package either, which is good, because then I would have to repack it. But they don't inspect the packages. Maybe they do at some FedExes. Let me know if you've had your package inspected at a FedEx ship center before dropping it off. But remember, it's highly against the rules to ship anything venomous, of course. So, you know, there's a potential that they could open it up to inspect just to make sure there's not venomous. But I've never had that happen to me. There are also some comments about, you know, if it is banned to ship reptiles, maybe this will lead to a resurgence of in-person interactions and brick and mortar sales and meeting somebody to exchange snakes, things like that. And I guess that's, you know, looking at a silver lining to a cloud. A lot of people, you know, responded to those comments saying, no, I don't agree with that. I'm really worried that, you know, I'm starting to get into breeding and now we have to worry about the shipping. And I can, you know, definitely empathize with those people. I don't feel really worried at this point, you know, now that we have the UPS option. And there's just so many people breeding reptiles and shipping them. You know, in my original video, I said that the reptile shipping is probably a small slice of the overall FedEx pie. And, you know, they're getting relatively little profit from this. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't know the statistics of how many reptiles are shipped by FedEx and how it compares to their other merchandise. I would say there's probably millions of shipments a year by FedEx that contain reptiles. I'm sure they've got probably billions and billions of shipments, so I don't know overall. But maybe it is, you know, part of their business and they're getting some profit from it. So it makes sense for them to continue profit-wise. So hopefully that will continue in the future. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully if you were worried about my last video with this news about UPS shipping through Ship Your Reptiles, you're not as worried. Certainly I'm not as worried. And I hope you learned something about shipping in this video. As always, shoot me any questions or comments you have. Thanks for watching and enjoy your boas.